So I always feel like your core values are kind of like your GPS system, your inner GPS system. Like you can like literally rely on them when you have to make a decision in some situation, whatever. No criticism. You just irritated me. I was like, what? What? You're the
Oh,
boulder.
that's good.
You're the con.
That's going in the blooper reel.
No. I just emptied my wallet. Like that's something that I do on a regular basis because I always feel that money should be welcomed in your wallet, feel welcomed. And if you clutter your wallet, there's no, yeah. It's my belief that I think if you have clutter in there, you probably also have clutter in your life with money, in your relationship with money. And I found something that I haven't seen for such a long time, and that is my GPS system. It's so imprinted within me now that I don't have to look at it anymore. But once it was very important to me. So I made once a little note to myself and put it into my wallet, and it was about the most important values that I have. I did a training many years ago about that, and I do that on a regular basis also with the European clients, that it's important to know your values. Yeah. And that was, yeah, it was interesting. What are your values? Do you have them defined? Do you carry them around?
I don't carry them around. I have some stronger ones though, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Integrity is one that comes up for me frequently. I
Mm-hmm.
value integrity quite a bit. I don't like um people say things that they don't mean, or they think because it sounds good, or they think it's the right thing to say, or things like that. I'm not really good with that. Love is obviously a big value for me, if it's even a value. Is love a value?
Yeah, yeah, in my opinion, it's a value. It's one of my core values. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So I love I love love,
Hmm.
as you know.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Freedom's big. Yeah,
Hmm.
freedom comes up quite a bit for me. It's I think that, and of course, along with freedom comes personal responsibility in my belief system. So
Hmm. Hmm.
those two are not always easily getting along, but they kind of go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the big ones. What about you?
Oh, mine is, to be honest, courage. Mine is
Mm,
my most important, or one of the most important values is courage, and it's also love, and it's also freedom. Yeah. And I had a very interesting client call one day, or it was a series of calls. It was going over a few months. And this was the most impressive story that I ever experienced around values, because the husband of this woman cheated on her. She knew that, but they never had a conversation about it. And she came into our coaching call, and she was, yeah, as you probably can guess, she was furious and extremely angry. And like one coaching call ahead, we did her core values. And for her, like harmony and peace, so it was not harmony, it was literally peace that was really really important to her, and love were one of the most important values. I can't remember the last one, but it was definitely not honesty. And when I do the value work in groups, oftentimes that pops up honesty. Honesty is one of the values that's, it I feel, to me personally, when you describe your value integrity, it's a little bit like this. It's a little bit in that direction, I feel. So a lot of people have honesty, especially in relationships, as one of their most important core values. This woman did not. And it was probably the most, yeah, I'm still impressed when I think about it. Like we
So
went it,
I'd like to give you the nuance between honesty and integrity, if you don't mind.
yeah.
I Interestingly, I only learned this because I worked in the oil field.
Mm-hmm.
So in the oil field, we measure and test integrity all the time. Integrity of um, tools and structures that are made out of steel. The way that we test them is one of two ways. We either pull on them really hard until they break, so we know that it has integrity up until so many thousand kilograms of force or whatever it is. And the other way we do it is we fill them up with water. If it's a vessel that's intended to contain it, if we fill it up with water and then pressurize the water inside the vessel until it explodes, then we know it has integrity up until so many thousand kPa of pressure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that's integrity. Honesty is just speaking your truth, and of course there's an element of integrity with
Mm-hmm.
that. I guess integrity is like the level to which you are honest. How about
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. This is, yeah, that gives me another perspective. So because the word, there are differences between the English interpretation of a word and a German interpretation of a word. So this woman, she decided that peace was more important to her than honesty. And it turned out that she contacted me, I think about a year later, and they were still a couple and they made it. Like she had an uncomfortable conversation with her husband, but she told him that she loves him and she's willing to work on it and it's important to her, and they made it. Like because he regretted it a lot. It was a one night stand. And yes, but the relationship basically survived because of her core values. That was very interesting. Like, because if someone says, like, honesty is my biggest core value, probably the relationship will not survive because he cheated on her and didn't tell her. And yeah, that was an amazing. So I always feel like your core values are kind of like your GPS system, your inner GPS system. Like you can like literally rely on them when you have to make a decision in some situation, whatever.
So I just went on ChatGPT just now while we were talking, and I asked it to give me a list of personal core values. Do you want to hear them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So top of the list, actually, number one, integrity. Integrity means upholding honesty, transparency, and ethical conduct. Number two is responsibility. These are not in like order of importance. This is a numbered list. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
is. Responsibility, taking ownership for one's actions and their consequences. Respect, treating others with dignity, empathy, and kindness. Courage, facing fears, standing up for what's right, and taking risks when needed. Love, expressing care and compassion towards others. Knowledge, prioritizing learning, intellectual growth, and understanding. Freedom, valuing independence, personal choice, and liberty. Creativity, fostering innovation, originality, and thinking outside the box. Humility, maintaining modesty and a down to earth perspective despite accomplishments. Gratitude. I forgot gratitude. How can I forget gratitude? Like, I'm literally the gratitude guy. Crazy. Appreciating the good in life, expressing thankfulness regularly. Service, helping others, contributing to the community or society at large. Excellence, striving for high quality and outstanding performance in all actions. Equality, balance, perseverance, adventure, loyalty, wisdom, wellness, sustainability. So I just want people to have some idea starters to
Mm-hmm.
sort of brainstorm with themselves about what their values might be. This list of 20 is not the be all end all. You don't have to have any of those as your top value, but it's just to help you think about some of the things that are important to you.
Yeah, and I got always asked a lot, like, how do I define my most important values? And what I totally recommend is here listening to your first intelligence or your gut feeling or your intuition, whatever you want to frame, however you want to frame it. And so when you get yourself a list, are we able to put a list down here, like a PDF? People can download it. So that might be a good idea to get. So you could probably we'll find a way to get you a list so you can download it, and then you have like let's say 50 different values available, and then you go one time through them and you automatically see which is important and not important to you. Like it's always a good idea to shrink the list down to 10 or maybe 15. And then you can go into a process and compare number one to number two. And you just have to feel it. You know what's more important to you. Like if you have, for example, empathy and love, and you immediately know it, you don't have to question it. You can feel it, what's more important. And then you compare like the first to the third, the first to the fourth, and so forth. It's a longer process, I mean, but it's very important. Like you want to be sure that these are your core values. And there's another interesting aspect to it. A lot of times people take the core values of their parents. They do not think about that they could have their own core values. And sometimes people ask me, like, but this is how it is. That's one of my favorites, by the way. If someone says that's how it is, that's not never how it is. You can choose whatever you want to every morning. Like Davis is not only the gratitude guy, he's also the sunrise guy. And so every morning there is a sunrise, and every morning you can choose what's how your life should be. And you can also always choose which kind of values are most important to you. Like, did your values change over the years?
Yes. I didn't always value gratitude. Um, I Gratitude was something that I began to value intentionally. It wasn't natural. I don't know if it is um, the most natural. I don't really know if there are natural values. I just wanted to clarify one thing with you before we get too far away from it. The list of your 10 values and how you compare them. I think that you can tell me if I'm wrong about this, but at the end of that process, you will have compared every value to every other value so that you
Yes.
have a prioritized list then, I guess.
No, you make little, I don't know what the word is in English. In Germany, you make a, so you compare one to two and you say the most important gets like a, what's the word for it? A thing behind it. You can make a cross behind it. So, and at the end, you know which, yeah, if you want to call it a priority, yes, yes. You
So
will
so you
find,
so
yeah,
you
yeah,
score each
right,
value that way,
right,
right?
yeah.
Okay. And we'll have to look it up, but there's a name for that process. It's used in programming a lot. When we ask
Mhm.
a computer to compare lists or to prioritize lists, that's how we do it. It's
Mhm.
that exact process. There's like a programming loop that has a name that
Mhm.
is actually the name of
Mhm.
that process. I can't remember it right now though.
Yeah, that's it is a little longer process. If I do it with the group, it's nearly an hour that the people work on that. Then there's a reflection on it. But this is like there are shorter ways to do it, but I feel that core values are so personal and so important that I always recommend then to write the top 3 down and put them in your wallet like I have that, or you can have it as a screensaver. I have some people who have it as a screensaver, and every time you have to make a decision in your daily life, just look at your core values and make the decision based on them. That's really helpful. It's like a GPS system for your life.
Yeah, very much so. And because as we learned yesterday, sometimes our needs supersede our values, and that's why it's important.
Mhm.
That's why it's important to become conscious of those times
Mhm.
when your need for certainty is exceeding your value of
Mhm.
integrity. You'll
Mhm.
see those now, you'll start to see those situations come up, and you can address them then that way.
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
say, well,
Mhm.
so I'm getting certainty by not meeting my value or by bypassing my value.
Mhm.
How can I have this value at a high level and still get the need that I'm trying to meet here? How can I meet
Mhm.
this need another way? There has to be another
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
And so yeah, once you start to become conscious of those things,
Mhm.
that's how it
Mhm.
works.
Yeah, yeah, it's really amazing. It can change a lot, even if it's just a simple process. So when I came to your country, when I came to Canada, and I went to the hairdresser, it was very interesting for me to see that the hairdresser had like a mission statement on the wall and also defined their core values. And the first thing I did was I went into a meeting with my team and said, okay, we got to define our core values. Like you always have customers who have a lots of money and you have customers who don't have so much money. And so it's a decision like based on what do we decide if we take a customer even if he needs a very, very low payment plan? Because like if you're a coach, you know that low payment plans are critical for coaches because they can literally not like cover their expenses if they go too low with the payment plans. So these are all like business decisions will also be based on your values of the company. That's also important, I feel.
Yeah, that's that's very interesting. That kind of, again, it reminds me of when I worked in the oil field because the company that I worked for had a very well-defined set of core values, and I remember that I probably was the only guy in the whole company that knew what they were, but I pretty much had them memorized, and it was so helpful to me in so many situations to just make a decision um on as a representative of the company
Mm-hmm.
that that this is the direction I'm going to go or we're going to go
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
this, and we're doing that because it matches our core values.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you remember them? I'm curious now.
I I don't. That was
Mm-hmm.
the not the last company that I worked
Mm-hmm.
for in the oil field,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
the one that I worked for the longest, but it was a long time ago. So it was 2011,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think.
so yeah, if you guys don't have your core values defined, go ahead. Like this is an important process. It's really extremely helpful, like for everything you do. And as I said, like since we defined our core values with the company, it makes a big difference when we think, like we talk about, like people can apply if they don't have so much money, if they're getting, I don't know if you have that social money or unemployed money from the state over there. And so they can apply and we take it into consideration, but we just like work over it with our core values. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important part of clarity for sure. Getting
Mm-hmm.
clarity
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
who you want to be and what you want to have in your life.
Yeah.